Yes, today we are here with the Lambretta V-Special 125 Flex. It is available in 5 colors. This is the orange here, as you can see, and we have also a darker blue, but it looks pretty cool. A blue color than some other colors with different colors, multicolor. Yeah, it's a 125 with a little less horsepower. We have 11.4 horsepower here. I just know that they used to be, I think they're still Italian, they're Swiss based now, and they manufacture with SIM in Taiwan. That's all I know for now, but this model is the entry model basically into the Lambretta world, with 3,700 euro basically on the road. And yeah, we'll get to the controls, the display and the storage space now. So on the left hand side of the handlebar we have the brake lever for the rear disc brake. All of the discs are CBS operated, meaning combined braking system, where the brake pressure is evenly distributed between the front and the rear brake. We have a light switch here, which is always set to low beam. We can set it to high beam here, or we can push it in the middle and we have the passing light. We have the blinker switch here, left, right, in the middle to reset. They actually feel fairly sturdy and not too bad, I would say. And we have the horn here. On the right hand side we have the throttle, we have the brake lever for the front disc brake, we have a set switch, which basically is only a reset switch for the trip, and we have a starter switch right there. In the middle we have the instrument cluster. On top we have the speedometer, which goes all the way to 160, which is kind of funny, I think. I don't know if the original ones actually had this or why they put it in, because it starts being read at 100, so they could have stretched the scale a little bit to make it easier to read, because the speed is very difficult to read with this indicator gauge. Yeah, that's all I can say about this. We have the indicator light here situated around the speedometer here. As you can see, they're a little bit better to see, but still they're not really great to see when it's bright outside. Then we have a fairly nice LC display down below. It's a little bit different. Maybe they used it so they can show more data in it. I don't know. We have a very big RPM counter. I don't know what that is good for. Maybe they should have put the speed there in digits. We have the fuel tank capacity here. We have the total. We can switch that with a set switch. I push it once. We have the trip here, and that's everything. You know, if you press it longer, you have a reset switch basically. We have down below, we have the battery voltage, 12.4 volts, and we have the clock on the right hand side down below, which also serves as an indicator. You know, when you turn it on and when you turn it off, it will say good morning, good evening. So that's pretty nice. So you always have to set your clock so it will actually tell you what day time it is. So when it comes to storage space, in the front we have a middle cubby hole basically, but the flap of it feels fairly cheap, to be honest, because only in the middle there's the lock, and on the outside there's nothing. So it you know, as you can see, it just wobbles around. It doesn't give you really a sense of higher quality. If you move the ignition switch to the right, it opens up, and we have the main disconnect switch there in there. On the right hand side we have a regular USB connection. I just saw this. Yeah, we close it up like that, and yeah, oh well, but everything feels very plasticky, to be honest. The entry model into the Lambretta world, but yeah, to me it is too plasticky, to be honest. If you turn the ignition switch to the left, you open up the seat, and the seat can only house one jet helmet. I tried my full-faced helmet in there. It almost fits, not quite, but you can basically only fit a jet helmet in there. We also have the fuel tank here. As you can see, the fuel tank is also not very big, 5.4 liters, something like that. And yeah, the seat from the outside leaves a fairly good impression. you know, with this little bit of stitching here and with the logo and everything. But if you open it up with that, as with most scooters, it becomes, it looks fairly cheap, you know, there's no spring loading here or anything. That's what it looks like underneath the seat. So this is the Lambretta V-Special 125 Flex in orange, 2026 model year, and we'll take it out for a little ride. Let's go. Okay, we started up here. We have a seat height of 770, although it feels a bit higher because the seat is very wide. Maybe you want to scoot forward so you have a better stand on the surface here. But yeah, that's what they say, 770, but it feels higher actually. Okay, let's go. First sitting on it. The seat, yeah, is very comfortable. No complaints whatsoever. However, I noticed when I was riding it to here already that the seating position is a little bit, I mean, it is, you're sitting straight up on it and everything like on a regular scooter, but somehow it feels a little bit different. It feels like you're a little bit cramped together, a little bit more cramped together. And that's what I noticed. Also in the corners here, it is very, very agile, to put it mildly. So we have, apparently we have 12-inch tires. And yeah, it feels kind of wobbly already, to be honest. Kind of reminds me of Vespa. Maybe that's what it should remind you of. I mean, very flickable, of course, in the city, and that's what they're basically for. I guess that's very good to get around traffic in town. But if you go into the countryside, you have to notice that it's definitely not as stable and as nice as other 125 scooters that you can get. That's what I want to point out. It's basically, if you want to buy this, you probably buy it because of the looks, or maybe you have some associations with the past Lambretta or something like that. I don't know. What I read online is that the company went kind of out of business. I don't know what to say. In 1972 already. In Italy, but in the 2000s, I mean, there was a lot of fighting and legal battles going on, apparently, what I heard. And in the 2000s, I don't know exactly when, they, of course, they have a joint venture with the Chinese. Apparently, the scooter is made by Sim in Taiwan. And actually that gives me a good feeling that it can last, actually, because they know how to build scooters, but they put this chassis all around it. I don't know, I mean, it depends, you know, on if you, whether you like it or not. You know, I like it actually, but it doesn't really serve a very practical purpose, you know, at all, because, you know, you don't have much storage space. The seat for two people is kind of short, I would say. The mirrors don't really, I mean, they look nice, the mirrors and everything, but they don't give you a very, very good view to the rear. The speedometer is, you know, the scale is kind of not so good, you know, so you can exactly judge how fast you're going and everything. As you can see, you know, everything looks very plasticky and feels plasticky. That's what I have to say. And for that price, of course, it's fairly cheap for a Lambretta, I would say. But if you compare to other scooters, or maybe also other Chinese scooters, you get for that price, I mean, you can basically get it almost 1,000 euro cheaper and get ABS, TCS. You get a nice storage space, maybe a top box and everything. Much more practical. Of course, this maybe should not be practical. speedometer we go to about 100 here. But yeah, it's a smaller engine, 11.4 horsepower. We have it air cooled. We have 10 point something Newton meters. I mean, it is on par basically with all the others, but I'm sure it will be a little bit slower. Anyways, on the highway, it doesn't really actually feel so bad. It is a little bit shaky and a little bit wobbly in the front, of course, because the front is fairly light, I would say. But other than that, it's still okay, I would say. It's okay. The mirrors don't shake or anything, so it is okay. You can see everything. And we have some potholes here, and the suspension was doing a pretty good job actually. Now we have full throttle going up the hill here. It's a very steep incline. Let's see how we're going to make it. I cannot really tell you anything about the speed, but as you can see, I cannot really see the speed. No, this is not the speed, that's the RPM counter. So it is okay. I mean, I think it's on par with all the other lower powered 125 scooters that I've tested, so it's not really that bad. And I mean, you should basically only use it for the city anyway. It's very flickable, agile for the city. Definitely no problem there. But what I think, you know, it looks fairly cheap. The plastic and everything looks fairly cheap. And yeah, I don't really like that. But if you're in the market for a Lambretta, and maybe you had one before, well, if you had one before, maybe you would be disappointed, you know, because of this. But maybe if you never had a Lambretta before, they say, oh, I have one now. Yeah, maybe that would be sufficient. I mean, it looks nice, you know, and but that's about everything that it is and that it does, because, you know, as I said, it doesn't really serve a practical purpose. And you can get much better 125 scooters even for less money from other brands, from other manufacturers. And that's my verdict already here. My final verdict you will find at the end of the video here. And as I said, it costs about 3,700 euro, and it is a little bit more expensive than all the other regular 125s, the smaller 125 scooters. But if you're in for the looks here for the Lambretta, maybe that's a good deal for you. Who knows? Anyways, that's my test ride here of the Lambretta V-Special 125 Flex in orange. Thanks very much for watching. This is Ben, I Ride Out. Take care.
Cruising down the coast, sun on my face, on a brand new ride, taking my place. From scooters to beasts, every mile's a test. I push the limit